Hello crafters, welcome. I'm so glad you're here with me today. Welcome to another Monday Mix-Up. Today we've got a fun paper piecing project with some awesome products from a lot of great companies. So let's go ahead and switch our camera view and take a look at what we're going to make today. All right, so here is our project, and like I said, it is a paper piecing project, and we have, at least four, I think, different companies that we're going to be working with today. And the real standout, I believe, on this card is our Pretty Pink Posh, and this is from their new release. This is their little trio of birds. And then another set to make our bird houses is from Brutus Monroe. And Brutus Monroe offered a set of their all dies, and it is called the Birdhouse Scene Builder. And that's kind of a fun thing to pair there. They work well together. And then we also are bringing in a few pieces from the Stamps of Life. So I am using the Stamps of Life slimline dies that will make your card base and the different layers for your card base. So that's very good to have. And then this is a fairly new set from Stamps of Life, and I just love these clouds. You can cut them out three different ways. You can cut them out just plain, you can cut them out stitched, or you can cut them out together and get a really cool outline of a cloud. So that's this is a really fun set to have on hand. And then I'm also going to bring in this little die set or stamp set from Stamps of Life. It says, "I hope this card makes you smile. I didn't sign it. Enjoy it a while, then pass the cheer to a friend you hold dear." So this is just a way you can put it in with the card on a separate sheet of paper, and it's kind of like a card and a gift. So there's a couple different sayings that I didn't sign this card, so you can send it on its way to bless someone else's day. So I really liked that saying too. But for today, we're using from our home to yours. And then it also says from my home to yours if you happen to be single or live on your own. So this is a really great stamp set. In addition to our stamp and die sets, I do have a really old stamp, and I'm afraid I am not sure where this come from. I don't have it labeled at all, but it's just a wood grain stamp. Now, I know Concord and Ninth sells a wood grain stamp, and I'm sure there's several other companies, but I could not tell you for sure where this one came from. I've had it for years, but I did use that today. And I'm also bringing in some Concord and Ninth little stamp cubes, and some of their assorted paper collection. So they have just some beautiful colors that they came out with, and the papers and the inks just match perfectly. All right, so to begin, we are going to start with our die cuts. Now, if you go to if you go to CarrieLeeCreations.com, you will find a die cutting guide for all of the pieces that you will need for this. There's pictures and papers to show you exactly what you need to die cut from each thing to make this. I'm not going to go over every single thing because it would be a lot, and I don't want our video to be too long, but you will be able to see as we go along kind of what colors I used, and I will show you which ones. All right, so all of my die cuts I put in some little bags here so that I wouldn't lose any of the pieces. So let's start with our little birds. All right, so for each of my birds, this one is a die cut from the Buttercup paper, and I am going to be inking around each of the pieces with the Buttercup ink. And this just gives, when you are paper piecing, if you ink around all of your pieces, it really gives a lot of dimension. And I apologize there, it looks like I forgot to mute my phone. So I'll do that real quick. I hope everybody's having a lovely day today. It's been a busy one here at my house, but very fun. Okay, so like I said, I'm just going to ink around all of the pieces, and this just adds some definition, and it looks like a simple step, but boy, is it noticeable if you skip this step. And for the little tail, I'm going to lay him on a piece of paper here where I can kind of brush it on, and that'll keep me from accidentally tearing up my tail on my little bird. All right, now for his little white belly, if you did look at the die cutting guide, I had you cut out each of the birds in white as well as in the different colors. And I did that so that we could have the beak and the eye and some little white bellies. But even though I wanted his belly to be white, I'm going to go around that with the buttercup color just to add some color. Like if it was a real bird, he'd have feathers and things, so it stands to reason that there would be a bit of color there. Now, I went ahead and left the little beak and the little eye in the paper, and I did that for a reason. I am going to come back in with my Copic markers, or really any marker you have, and I'm going to color this beak while it's in the paper, and that just makes it much easier to color. And then I'm also going to come in with a black marker and color the eye. All right, let's go ahead and put him together. I'm going to start with his little tummy feathers. And this bird is going to be flying in our scene, so I'm going to kind of angle his wing up. All right, now to do the eye and the beak, I like to go ahead and poke them out of the paper here. And then I'm going to put my glue on my bird where I want those things to be. And then this little pin that I keep in my glue, I'm actually going to tap it into the glue that I put down, and then I'm just going to pick up my little pieces. Now this one turned over, so I'm going to have to turn that back over. But you see how I'm using my pin to pick those tiny pieces up and place them where I want them. So just like that, we have our first bird. All right, let's go on to bird, I cannot get that in, bird number 2. And that is going to be our sea glass. So the color of this ink and this paper is called sea glass. Like I said, it all just matches perfectly. Get all the pieces out of my little bag. I usually, when I'm paper piecing, I would have a little tray with the little pieces in, but because I was recording this video, I was afraid I'd lose some little pieces out of that tray, so I decided to put it in little bags just to keep them from getting blown around or anything. Now, when I die cut my little buttercup bird, this was the little belly that die cut from this bird, but I'm going to use the little yellow belly on our sea glass bird. So again, I'm going to come in and I'm going to ink all around him with the sea glass. And again, to do his tail, I'm just going to lay it down and kind of brush over his tail. That way I don't tear up his tail. I am notorious for that kind of thing. I get a little heavy-handed and excited, and I bend it all up and then have to die cut it again. So I learned the hard way to be careful there with the little pieces like that. Now, I'm not going to be using this little belly that die cut with him. I'm going to go ahead and throw that out. Now, for his little belly, because it's a different color, I'm not going to ink it. Okay, we're all done with that color. Now, for his beak, I'm going to leave his beak yellow, but I am going to come in with my marker again and color his eye. Oops, I'm just going to leave that out because I'm going to use that one more time. All right, and again, I'll poke those through with my pokey tool. And it's time to put this bird together. right, so tell me in the comments if you like the paper piecing, if that's something you do often. I love the way it looks on a card. All right, you can kind of slide that right into his space right there. And this bird is going to be sitting, so I'm going to angle his little wing kind of down. He's going to be sitting on one of the tree houses, or bird houses. And again, I'll just tap a little tap of glue where I want those pieces, and I'm going to use my pen to pick them up and put them in place. All right, there we go. All right, bird number 2, down. Okay, we'll set him over here, and we're ready to go on to our third bird, which this bird is out of grapefruit. And he's going to be very similar to our first bird as far as how he goes together. Oh, it looks like I lost his eyeball. Okay, let me look in my bag here. Did I? Yep, I've lost an eyeball. That's okay. We shall find it. I probably have another one over here, so we'll just keep going. And we're going to go ahead and ink his edges just like we did the other. I can't believe I lost that, even inside the bag. I tell you what. And again, we'll do his tail. Now we're not going to use this piece. This was his little belly that cut out in that color. We're not going to be using that. Wing. And then we are going to go just around his tummy feathers with the grapefruit ink, just like we did on the buttercup. All right, now for this bird, I did not like his beak in orange. I just thought it clashed with the buttercup, so I got a brown marker, and we're just going to do his little beak in a brown color. Let's see here. I'm looking to see if I have another eye. It does not look like it. I can't believe I lost that eye, but that's okay. I can always just use the marker to make one. It's okay. But I cut several things extra. Oh, look, there it is. There it is. I found it. I knew it had to be in there somewhere. Okay, I'm just going to put it on my paper here so that I can try to color it. I'm sorry if I'm getting my head in. I'm just itty bitty. There we go. All right, now I'm just going to go ahead and try to color that up. There we go. He's over here. There we go. Yay, I'm so glad. Little lost eye is found. All right, now we're just going to go ahead and put him together. Now, this little bird is also flying. So I'm going to kind of put his wing angled up. And the same, we'll just put a little dot of glue. I'm going to get this eyeball glued down before I have a chance to lose it again. There we go. All right, there we go. All of our birds are complete. So we're going to set our birds aside for a little bit, and we're going to start working on our bird houses. Now, we shouldn't need our ink anymore, so I'm going to go ahead and set that aside. For our first birdhouse, we're going to go ahead and get a scoreboard out. And this is going to be our little white birdhouse. Now, in the cutting guide, each of the roofs to the birdhouses need to be cut twice because we're going to layer those up. So here's all of our pieces for our white birdhouse. I save all my little bags. I use them over and over. So we're going to take the body of the birdhouse, if I can get it picked up here, and we're going to lay it on our scoreboard. And you want to get it nice and straight. And starting at the tip, I'm going to run it straight down. Then again, Hold on, he moved a little bit. There we go. And again. Whoops. Okay. Whoops. Well, he moved a little bit, but that's okay. There we go. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to turn it around upside down and do the other side. All right. See, there you go. You see, we've kind of made it look like beadboard is what my mother always called it. And I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but you can see those score lines in there that kind of give that some nice shape. So now we're going to glue our roof together. I thought these roofs looked a little weak when they were just a single layer, so I went ahead and doubled those up. There we go. And to do the roof line, I just ran my glue right along the top and then just placed my roof right on top. Now I believe this die in the set is meant to be a flower, but I liked it on my birdhouse. So for the little centers, this piece you do have to cut out multiple times in different colors to get both the centerpiece, and then on the craft birdhouse we use that there, so you had to cut it out multiple times there. So that was one of the few dies that had to be cut many times. Now you can use the score line that you put in your birdhouse. You can kind of use that to find the middle, because we put that right down the middle. There we go. We have our first birdhouse. All right, for the next birdhouse, we're going to use this wood grain stamp that I have. So for the wood grain stamp, we're going to go ahead and pull off the backing. And it looks like I had my, yeah, here it is. So this is a color of ink called Coffee, and it is from Catherine Pooler Inks. And I'm just gonna, I think I want to use this end down here. This has a lot more big, so I'm just gonna do it on this end. I think that'll be the best end. So I'm just gonna ink up some of it here. And I'm gonna get my pieces to my craft, my little house called craft. I actually think in the, Concord and Ninth paper, I think they call this wheat. But I'm just gonna go ahead and lay it face down and rub that on my stamp where I inked it up. And there we go. He's nice and wood grain now. I just love that. All right, I'm going to take my other pieces and do the same thing. And it just, it doesn't matter kind of what shape, you know, or what section you do it on. You just want to get some of that wood grain onto all these pieces. So now the one piece you don't really need to do is the bottom half of your roof, because we're not going to see that. But I even did the top of the rings. All right, now this is going to be layered up, so that one you don't need to do either. All right, and then just clean off your stamp real quick, and we're done with that. All right, now we're just going to layer this one up. Whoa, okay. So tell me if you like to use the reverse tweezers. I try to use the reverse tweezers, and sometimes I do, but I am not very proficient with them. I tend to drop everything because I squeeze them instead of letting them rest. Like I do the opposite of what they need to do in order to work. And so I've kind of struggled. Me and the reverse tweezers have not quite got it figured out. Now I like to put my little circles a little above halfway instead of right in the middle. And now I'm going to add the two little rings. Sometimes when I'm doing this, I'm getting glue all over. I'm like, you know, some people use those little tweezers, and I should try that again. And then I do it, and I make a total mess, and I'm like, oh no, I think I do better just with my fingers. So I do have tweezers, and I use them to hold things for me, like when I need something held shut. But when I'm paper piecing, I just haven't done a good job with them. So the same way, I'm going to add a little bit of glue up here, and some of this end we probably will end up trimming off, but since I don't know exactly how long I want it to be, I'm going to go ahead and leave it, and we can trim that at the end. All right, so there's our second birdhouse. Our paper piecing has come together very quickly. We're on our last birdhouse. So we're just going to go ahead and dump out the pieces. And this one comes together pretty easily. And this paper, I believe, is called, oh boy, I forgot, honeysuckle. That's it, honeysuckle. So let's go ahead and glue the layer up the roof. In the same way we did the others, we're just going to add that roof up there. My hands have enough glue on it now that they're kind of sticking to things. And on this one, this too was a flower, but I liked it back behind the hole for my birdhouse. I thought that gave it kind of a little girly look in there. Whoops. Yeah. And within this birdhouse builder set, there is a piece that cuts out 5 little hearts. So I went ahead and left the little white hearts in the die for now because I didn't want to lose them. But we're going to slowly just poke those out right here. Did we get them all? Ah, there we go. Okay. And now in the same way, I'm going to put 5 little dots of glue, starting 1 in the middle, and then 1, 2, and 1, 2. And now the same method that I used before, tap it in the glue, and then I'm just going to tap them on, starting in the middle and working my way out. Oops. Okay. All right. Now, I need to angle my house a little bit. There we go. All right, so there's our little hearts along the bottom of this one. And now for the final birdhouse, we'll just add the same way we did the others. And again, our guide here is going to be that center heart to just have our stick piece coming out from that center heart. I got him a little crooked. Okay, there we are done with our paper piecing. And we are ready to do a little bit of ink blending. So let's go ahead and move these pieces aside. I'm going to get a piece of cardboard here to blend on. I have a media mat that I wanted to use and I couldn't find it anywhere. So we are going to be using the oxide ink of tumbled glass and broken china. And I am going to start with the tumbled glass, and we're just going to cover this whole piece with the broken glass. Oh, I'm sorry, tumbled glass. It's broken china, tumbled glass. So I'm getting them mixed up. And I love blending with oxide inks. They just are so smooth. And I'm purposely leaving like some little places of white just to add that look of cloud and sky. Okay, so you don't have to like get that super solid. Having a little bit of variation is going to be good for the sky look that we're going for. And then I'm going to come in with the broken china and give just a little bit of places to kind of further that look of the sky. Okay. All right, I think I like that. And the last thing we're going to do is I'm going to come in with a little bit of Doc Martens. And I'm going to get a small Oops, that's the wrong side. Is that? No, this is the right side. And I'm going to put just a little bit of my Doc Martens on here. And whenever you're working with, this is a shoe polish, and it's called Bleed Proof White from Doc Martens. And this is a wonderful product that can be used just for all kinds of things. But I'm going to add water to it. If I can get my, there we go. And then I'm going to come in, this is a Tim Holtz Distress brush that works well. You can also use a paintbrush, a toothbrush, but I'm just going to get it on there, and we're going to add some splatter to our sky. I kind of like the Tim Holtz brush a little better than the paint brushes just because it gives me a little bit more control. I think I want just a little more water. There we go. Okay. All right. So while that's drying, I'm just going to wipe off my block there. If you let that dry on your block, it'll be permanent. But if you go ahead and wipe it off, it'll be clean and ready to go for next time. And then until I have time to clean this brush thoroughly, I'm going to pop it in a glass of water up here. All right. So let's go ahead and set this aside to dry. It doesn't take it very long at all. And we will get to our clouds. Oh, okay. So remember I told you we can cut those clouds in 3 different ways. I used 2 of the ways to make my clouds. I really like these little cloud outlines. Isn't that fun? And then I used the same ones. So I cut them out using the whole pieces together. And so that gives you 2 for 1 for each one. And we are going to layer these onto our card. Now, just to help this dry, I probably should have done this first. I'm just going to hit it real quick with my gun. Just to make sure that's all dry before I start putting things down on it. There we go. That looks good. Okay. So I like, before I start gluing anything or adhering anything, I like to lay everything in its place and make sure I like my composition before I start adding it down. So I kind of want this birdhouse to be about halfway up. This one is going to be my shortest birdhouse. And then this will kind of be my medium height birdhouse. Whoops, there we go. Whoop. All right. All right, and this bird is going to be sitting, I kind of imagined if there was a little wooden stoop coming out of this birdhouse, he'd be sitting on that top birdhouse. Okay, now for my clouds, I'm going to let some of them hang off. I'm going to put this one here and this one here. This one is going to be cut in portions, so I'm going to go ahead and get my scissors. Well, maybe I'll put this right here. And then this one I'm not going to add until I'm done, because inside of it I want to stamp my sentiment. So once we decide where we want our sentiment, that's when I'm going to do that. Can we see all of it? Let me move it down just a little bit so you can see the whole card. All right, we have to add our next 2 little birds. I'm going to have this one flying right above the sentiment, and then this one up in the sky up here. Come up a little bit. All right, now we're going to have some other pieces of the cloud, so if you wanted to add more, you sure could. I'm going to grab my sentiment set here. The name of this set is called Not Signed to Stamp. So Not Signed is the name of this stamp set. And it's a really just neat stamp set to have. And my original, I said from our home to yours. So I think on this one, I'm going to say from my home to yours. Okay. All right, I'm going to go ahead and use a Misty to do this. And we'll just pop the whole thing, everything in its place, right in there. That way, I know I'm getting it right where I want it. Okay. Add my magnets down. All right, and I'm going to use just a little bit of a VersaFine Clair. I love how you get just a nice dark black crisp stamp almost every single time. Usually if I don't, it's because I've done something wrong, and I just love the way this ink stamps. All right, now it's just a matter of putting everything in its place, and we will be finished with our paper piecing bird house and birds and birdhouse card. Okay, so let's start putting everything in its place. I'm going to start with this birdhouse. I'm going to glue him straight down. And I'm going to, you know, before he's completely dry, I want to put this underneath, because I did this when I was making it the first time. I did the exact same thing. I forgot to put this under it. So I'm going to do that real quick before he's dry. Just going to angle that just like that. There we go. We will come back and trim things off at the end. I thought when this card all came together, like, it just looks like these products were all designed to go together, and it doesn't look like you pulled products from lots of different companies. And that's one of the things I really enjoy doing in card making, is just mine will look unique because it was pulled from lots of different companies, and I like that, because, you know, the birdhouses you have may be totally different. You might have Lawn Fawn birdhouses, or you might have oh, even the Pretty Pink Posh has some beautiful birdhouses to go with these stamps and or these dies. So, you know, but everybody's will look a little differently because you pulled from different companies, and that's one of the things I really like about doing that. Okay. And then do it this way. I think so. So you'll have to let me know in the comments if that is something that you like as well. All right. So for these other pieces, we're going to put some foam on the back of all of these. Here, he's in two pieces. Okay. Now these little tails, I am going to cut little small pieces for each of their little tails, because I will pull those up on accident and ruin them just quicker than anything. So there we go. Now for the little strips, I'm going to come in with some of this foam that's made this way to be real skinny like that. And let's see, I'm going to put one right up there. And then we'll put just a little bit right here on this one. All right, now it's just a matter of popping it all down and gluing it to our card. We're in the home stretch. Now when this goes on the card, there is a bit of an overhang, so I do like the roof eaves kind of going over the edge of the card. But I do want these to kind of be like they're kind of married together as a set, so I did want them to overlap a little bit. And I liked being able to see the sky on both sides. So, all right. I'm going to go ahead and add our little sitting bird. Okay. And now we'll add our flyers. You know what, before I add my flyers, I'm going to turn this over and cut off the pieces that are hanging off. I think that'll help me place my birds in the right place. All right, so like I said, you do have some other pieces of cloud if you wanted to add some more in there. I'm just going to kind of leave it how I designed it, but that is an option for you. I'm going to actually add that one last because I'll have a little more flexibility with him on where I put him. So I'm going to put this bird like right here in this cloud up here. And then this one's going to be just right above my sentiment. In fact, his tail can kind of go right there above the sentiment. All right, let's get our card base that we made earlier and fold that over. I like to kind of work it both ways when it's a slim line, just so it you know, opens real nicely and lays flat. Just gives you, yeah, there we go. Okay. Make sure that my opening is going the right way, and we're going to add this to the back. Now, of course, I'm not going to add foam. I kind of wanted this, you could pop up the whole panel if you wanted to. I kind of just liked it so it goes in an envelope real nice at the end. I thought about adding some scallops and things around and ended up deciding not. I like just the birdhouses on their own. All right, so there we go, from my home to yours. And of course, on the inside, you could make yourself an inside saying birthday, thank you. You know, this is a sentiment that could just go for all kinds of things. So I hope that you have enjoyed our paper piecing project. I'm going to go ahead and switch my camera back real quick. All right, well, thank you so much. I do hope you enjoy these projects. And if you have any bird dies or bird stamps or bird houses in your stash, I hope that you will put them together and see if you can create a card using some elements like I used today. Now, I also have a series of videos that come out every Friday using Heartfelt Creation products, and I would love it if you would go ahead and subscribe and like and thumbs up and comment and all those things so that you won't miss any of my videos. And I just appreciate you being here so much. I hope you all have a lovely day. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.